Hi everybody, welcome to the Steve Lyon Show. I'm DJ Foster, joined by Grand Valley State head baseball coach Steve Lyon. Coach, thanks for joining me this week.
It's good to be here, DJ.
Well, a good week for you last week. Didn't start off so well, losing 2 of your first 3, but then you won 3 straight against Saginaw Valley State. It's always good to beat them. So you go 4-2 last week overall. You're 18-10 on the year now, 8-6 in GLIAC play. A lot of season left as we're talking. You have 11 doubleheaders still on the schedule. Of course, weather permitting, as always.
Right.
But 6 of those are at home, including 4 this week. So it looks like you're kind of getting back on track now and starting to play some better ball, especially about the midway part of the season. What were your thoughts overall in last week?
Yeah, I'd like to think we're playing better. Hopefully that continues. We played the midweek game against Hillsdale, at Hillsdale. And to be honest, we were kind of fortunate to get, a split out of that doubleheader. We didn't play extremely well. We won the first game. Zambron came in, closed the door at the end, and he's been great at doing that. We didn't hit very well. They just played worse than we did, type of thing, the first game. The second game kind of continued. We're still struggling at that point to try to find a lineup and, how to mesh, kind of together a little bit. We're moving guys in and out and around in the lineup itself. So the second game we dropped, didn't play well, and, went into the weekend still wondering what kind of team we had. And then, the best pitcher we've seen all year threw against us in the first game against Saginaw. Shut us down on 3 hits.
Right.
More credit to him. I mean, he was very good. I think he's a draftable guy. They were there looking at him, of course. So we had to regroup, and to our guys' credit, we did. We played well in the second game, came back and won an extra inning game, which is always hard to do on the road. Mm-hmm. And then came back on Saturday, the day before Easter, and played very well. Played, one of the better doubleheaders we played all year. We hit the ball. We fielded it. We pitched well, which we've done, most of the time this year. But you put those 3 phases together, which we've been struggling to do all year, and we came away with 3 out of 4 against the first place team in the conference at that point in time. So it kind of put us back in the conversation in terms of the conference now. Mm-hmm. There's 6 teams at the top that are all within a couple games of each other, and as you mentioned, a lot of games left. So we're hoping that continues, through this week, which we've got 8 games this week.
Right. Let's talk about. Let's go to the Hillsdale game, the doubleheader that you had last Tuesday. You won game 1 6-4. You trailed 4-3. Scored the final couple of runs. Zach Lopp had a home run in that game. Anderson, Cowan, Zach all had 2 hits. Second game you lost 5-2. A couple more guys with 2 hits. Nadrotowski, Anderson, Buitendijk. But as you said, a split with Hillsdale, probably not what you were looking for, but as you mentioned, you were glad to get the sweep, or get a split, and win at least 1 game there.
Yeah, they are a better team at home normally, and they were kind of fired up to play us.
Home opener, I believe, too.
Home opener for them, that's right. A couple questionable calls by the umpires. It went both ways. No, not really a factor in the games, but the second game, both head coaches were ejected, which isn't good. But a little bit of frustration on our side just because we weren't playing as well as we think we should be.
Sure.
And, they came in with not a real good record, but, had beaten Wayne State, and they're always, they're a struggle to beat on the road, at home when we're on the road. And we came away with kind of a bitter taste in our mouths after, winning the first game and then losing the second game. It's a long ride home thinking about what could have been.
Sure. Then you mentioned the kid from Saginaw, Sanders, I believe, hit 10 strikeouts, it looked like, in the first game against you on Friday. Both teams only had 3 hits. So Kyle Scapel pitched very well. Yeah. Only 3 hits in 6 innings, gave up the 2 runs. But then you come back and win another low-scoring game in Game 2, 3-2. As you said, Brad Zambron came in for one of his 7 saves this year. He hasn't given up an earned run yet. Garmin gets the win in that game. You scored a run late in that game in the 8th inning. Anderson with the single, then Cowan got the double to knock in Anderson for the go-ahead and eventually the game-winning run. Kevin Zach, who's been a nice surprise this year, went 2 for 4 with a couple RBI.
Yeah, Zach's been great. He's moved up in the order. We had him down the bottom of the order to start the season, redshirt freshman. Not sure what he's going to do offensively, and he's continued to be very consistent. So we got him in the middle of the order now, and he's continued to hit, so that's great. Garmin pitched 7 good innings. I mean, he struggled for 1 inning. They got a couple, scratched up a couple runs. But I think the 5th, 6th, and 7th, he shut them down. And he was coming out of the game regardless after 7.
Okay.
So I think our guys kind of took it upon themselves. They all knew that. let's get a run because Garmin's still the pitcher of record.
Sure.
We can get him a win here if we get a run and Zambron comes in and gets a save, which is what happened. With a big hit by Jared Cowan. He's been hitting well all year, and Anderson scored from first on a double to center. And then Brad came in and made it stand up. So it was a good win. Extra innings on the road. They're tough to win. We won one. I think it gave us a good feeling going back to the hotel that night, thinking about the next day.
Sure.
And it's always better to win the second game of a doubleheader, I think, than the first because you still have that win, that taste
Pressure
of a win in your mouth. And it carried over into the next day.
Yeah, it seemed like it kind of set the tone for Saturday. You win the first game 9-6, probably a little deceiving score. I think it was 9-2 going in the bottom of the seventh. You had a 4-run fourth inning. Saginaw looked like they kicked the ball all over the field, 6 errors. Corey Baker gets the win. Nadrotowski, Cowan, and Rudinga all had 2 hits in that game. And then a nightcap, you win 6-4. That was the Giancarlo Brignoni show with 2 home runs, 3 RBI. He had a 2-run homer and a solo shot. Brian Robinson, 2 for 4 with a couple RBI. Campanella the win, Zambron the save. A great way to close out the weekend.
Yeah, Baker and Campanella, our 3 and 4 guys, have been pitching well all year, and it's good to see them continue that that pattern against Saginaw. As you mentioned in the first game, we had several guys that contributed offensively, and really the game was in hand, 9-2 going in the bottom of the 7th, and we had some guys in there. A little disappointed that some of our bullpen guys didn't do a better job in the last inning, but the game was pretty much put away at that point in time. They did not play well, and they kind of gave us some runs, but we've had other teams do that too, and we haven't really taken advantage of
Sure.
it. So we've got some key hits at certain times after maybe a couple errors, put a couple runs on the board. And then the second game, Giancarlo really had a good game. We need him to continue to do that in the middle of our order. The first home run he hit was a bomb. They call it a bomb, and it was. He stood there and watched it for a minute until I screamed at him from the dugout to start running. But I guess if I hit one that far, maybe I'd watch it for a second too. I've never done that, so I can't speak from experience. And then the next one he hit the right center, which was good to see him stay back and drive the ball the other way. So, if he and Anderson and Cowan continue to hit and Zach in the middle of the order, we've got enough guys to set the table that we can create some runs. And then, as you mentioned, Brian Robinson coming back from suspension, contributing at third base defensively, he made 3 or 4 really nice plays, got a couple of hits for us, which we know he's capable of. Kind of solidified the infield a little bit. I'm hoping that continues because we haven't played well defensively, as we've talked about before, especially on the infield. So maybe putting him at third, and then we put Mitch Kozlowski, a true freshman, at second base, and he played well. So maybe we're trying to figure out, a lineup for the last half of the season.
Sure.
And I think we're getting a little closer to something we can stay with.
That's always good, and you have plenty of time to try that lineup out this week with 8 games, all at home, 4 home doubleheaders. Schedule is Tuesday against Hillsdale here, Wednesday against Northwood, and then you bring Tiffin in on Saturday and Sunday for a 4-game series. So what does the week hold for you? Again, 8 games, but it's all in like a 4 or 5 day stretch.
Yeah, it's going to test the pitching. We're going to bring guys back on 3 days rest, some of our starters, which they're certainly capable of. We don't do it very often. This will be the only time we do it all season. They have a full week off afterwards, so we feel good about that. So Scapel and Garmin will throw Tuesday and Saturday, and Campanella and Baker will throw Wednesday and Sunday. And our bats should get rolling. I mean, the more games you play, you figure your offense should get rolling a little bit. Hopefully the weather holds. I know it's not going to be 80 degrees like it was early in the season, but hopefully it'll be dry and we can get all the games in. Just continue to try to get better. All 3 of these teams are behind us in the standings. That doesn't mean anything other than the fact that we haven't done well against teams that have been behind us in the standings up to this point. The Ashland and the Saginaw series, both of them we played well. They were both ahead of us in the standings, and so I think the mentality for our team, has to get away from we got to play well to win against certain teams. We got to play well to win against any team.
Period. Right.
And hopefully we got that point across to them at practice today, and we'll see what happens when we get going in the games this week. I'm cautiously optimistic, as I usually am. If we can do well this week, we should put ourselves in good standing for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the conference.
That sounds great. Well, again, 4 home doubleheaders this week: Tuesday against Hillsdale, Wednesday against Northwood, Saturday and Sunday against Tiffin. We'll get to recap all these next week. But the best of luck this week, and hope you get all those games in and are successful.
Great. Thanks, DJ.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for watching the Steve Lyon Show here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.